looks like it's kicking into action now. Is it working? Just check audio. Alright, looks like it's kicking into action now. Is it working? Just check audio. Alright, looks like it's kicking into action now. Is it working? Just check audio. Alright, looks like it's kicking into action now. Is it working? Just check audio. Alright, looks like it's kicking into check. Audio sounds horrendous. Test 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check. Audio sounds horrendous. Test 1 2 3 1 2 3. There we go. That's better. Okay, let me drop the link in the Discord. So this is just going to be a short stream tonight. It's 10 p.m. and I'm quite tired, but still got a few new features to show off compared to yesterday. So let's do that. Let's bump the map down to 10 kilometers. Fixed a few things. Added a couple of features. Hello, Real Smurf. So first I'm just going to show, I'm not going to do this as a scenario, but I just want to show the subvortices have been updated. So the logic in them was fine, the subvortices were just too wide, so you just kind of end up with a blob. So if I just show here, hopefully we'll get one with subvortices in. Yeah, you can actually see each individual subvortex. So you get more cycloidal type marks on there. Oh, no worries. There's no obligation to make every single stream. I just appreciate when people are able to make the streams. I know I don't give much notice. I give usually anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes notice, but it's great to have you here. I always appreciate when people join in and join the conversation. It makes it a lot more fun. So we won't do this scenario like this because it'll be way too laggy. Let's just stick with one tornado. I kind of want to have extremes so it can go from really strong to really weak and then back to really strong again. Let's bump the path deviance down a bit. Okay, that seems somewhat interesting. Should I have 2 tornadoes maybe so I have a choice? Maybe we'll bump it up to 2. Let's have a look. Yeah, the subvortices look a lot nicer now. Create a lot more chaotic of a pattern as well. You have to thank Rainbow Does Stuff for that. I still haven't implemented all of the changes, but the biggest one, so what I was doing was already very close. There's a few minor tweaks I can do here and there to make it more realistic, which I still need to do, but the biggest thing I could do is make the subvortices smaller and also get rid of the big F5 region. So if a tornado is going to be F5 strength, the strongest it'll colour on the map is just F4, which is red, so that each of the subvortices is actually easier to see. Yeah, but there Rainbow Does Stuff. I'll be incrementally improving them with each update as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and drop into the game. Right, so some of the changes, pretty minor one. You can press F1 to toggle the UI. So you don't just have to be VHS mode to get rid of the UI. Let me check the settings. Yeah, all that seems fine. And then inside the vehicle, we've now got a speedometer. And also, one thing I noticed, because I added the speedometer, I'd limited the speed limit to 40 miles an hour off-road. But then, when I was actually driving, I could get to like 70 miles an hour. And I thought, what's going on here? turns out when I'd set the speed limits, that those were actually meters per second. So when I set 40, what I thought was 40 miles an hour, it's actually 40 meters per second, which is like close to 100 miles an hour. Okay, we're ahead of this one. Let's pop velocity on. So I've updated it so that we've got the actual correct speed limit. So it should be 90 miles an hour on paved roads, 40 miles an hour off-road, and 60 miles an hour on dirt roads. So they sent me a detailed explanation on how the subvortices should work, like where they should be placed, the speed they should rotate at around the funnel, how you can use different, how you can use like the tornado's wind speed and rotation speed to control the subvortices. So I haven't implemented all of that yet. What I've done is I've got it. I've managed to make the subvortices more visible, and I've also got rid of the F5 wind speed blob that was inside, where it was like magenta, because the big thing was keeping the subvortices inside the radius of maximum wind, which I've made sure to do this time. Speaking of subvortices, we've got our first tornado here, and also I've made the tornado trails a bit more transparent. It might be a bit more obvious once it gets across this road. I just realised once you get later in the game and there's a lot of trails everywhere, it's hard to actually see the road network. So I've just dialed down the transparency just a bit, just so you can still see the roads underneath. This is still a pretty weak one. Let's take a look at the environment. It isn't in an environment where it can get stronger though, especially as it gets over here. So let's just wait for this to come over this way. Rainbow Dust Stuff has also sent me a lot of information on how the debris clouds work. I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to be able to implement, because it's very physics-based, and I don't know how much I can actually simulate that without really slowing down the game. So this game's always a balance between, I guess, fidelity, like how detailed the simulations and the visuals can be, and also performance. I'll say it's roping out a bit, but it should come down stronger. So let's just wait. It'll be heading this way. Maybe we can track it with velocity. Yep, here it comes back. Got a velocity couplet there. Let's get rid of the environment. The Mesonets. I haven't planned it, but it could be like an aesthetic addition to the truck, like so like mounted on the roof or something like that. You're talking about mobile Mesonet, or actually, it could be. I could have sensors. I'm about to implement an object scatterer, so what that's going to do is place objects randomly around the map just so they can be picked up by the tornado. So I could have some sort of model like that, just dotted around to kind of simulate like Oklahoma's Mesonet. And then it can just be something that the tornado can toss and destroy. More solid in colour. Yeah, more solid in colour, where the tornado actually is. What I'm thinking of doing is, let me just hide velocity and zoom in a bit. Let's just draw something like a white circle, or maybe like a dashed white circle just around where the tornado currently is, and just have that move so you can see where the tornado is. Could even potentially have like a forecast cone. So, depending on what you've set the tornado deviance to, it'll show which direction it's heading. The only thing is that might kill the gameplay a bit, because it'll make it a lot easier to position yourself for an intercept. And when you make it that easy, it then just becomes a game of drive between the lines and wait, which might not be as fun. So let's say it's getting F2 strength now. I'm thinking we'll get a bit more distance. Maybe intercept over here. It's just intensifying right now, so if we get an intercept now, we're not even going to get it at full strength. So let's get in here, get the headlights on. So I think we're heading north. We'll go off-road. You'll definitely be able to notice the difference going off-road now. But it's a lot slower. The speed limit's 40 off-road, so it'll be a lot more stressful trying to outpace tornadoes off-road now, which is the idea. It makes planning to stay on the road network and thinking ahead like a bonus. You can have higher average speed by planning, rather than just driving a straight line towards a tornado. It's F3 now, so F1, F2, F3. Where's this road? Looks like it's over there. Yep. Alright, let's figure out where this is going to go. So if it stays on this path, I'd say once we get to this line on the map. Oh no, it's turning east. Ah, yeah, true. So yeah, we can. That's a good suggestion, Real Smith. I have mentioned that before, but not for that feature particularly. You could have additional UI helpers, which will lower your earnings. Yeah, I need to implement that. It would be pretty easy. All I need to do is have some sort of multiplier that you multiply every sample by, and just adjust that based on which features are enabled when you set up your chase. So yeah, maybe I could do that. So we have like I definitely need a ring to show where the tornado is. It'd be cool to show things like diameter at the base as well. Just so you can say, oh, this is a mile wide tornado, quarter mile wide, etc. Yeah, this thing's getting close now. I don't think I need to head north again. Right, we're gonna have to go off road. And I think. Right. This is hard to eyeball. About here, so 3, 2, 1, stop. Right. We'll get out. Oops. We'll get out. Yeah, you can hear that wind now. Come on, lift up, and get there. You hear that? Look how violent that thing is. Oh, I forgot. We've got a much lower speed getting away now. Right. Do the Skip Talbot thing. Get distance first. And then we'll escape, let's see, to the south. Look at it on the map. We're just gonna make it. There's a dirt road coming up. Look, because we're limited to 40 miles an hour. So I can't even show the probe cam right now because it's widening as well. Oh, and there's another one behind it too. Right, I think we're safe now. I think we're safe. Where's the dirt road? About to hit a dirt road. Hello, Lucy Lou 2. Yeah, we've got the speedo now. Because I added the speedo, I realised that the speed limits for the different road surfaces were wrong. So now they're right, and going off-road is painfully slow now. But in a good way. In a way that makes you want to plan ahead. It makes you want to be more like Rabbit from Twister. We just saw that lightning from 2 different angles there. It's not his only method. He did a video, I call it that Skip Talbot method, because he did a video on the El Reno tornadoes. It's called like Lessons from El Reno, or something like Safety Lessons from El Reno. And it talks about, depending on your positioning relative to the tornado, you should either immediately escape to the north or the south, or you should head in a direction, usually east, to build distance between yourself and the tornado before turning. Because, for example, if the tornado is a mile wide and you just go immediately north and it's really close, you're going to have to close half a mile before you can get out of the radius of it. So let's just show this on the map here. So imagine you're sat here and you immediately think, oh no, I'm in the way, I need to drive north. You may not get north far enough before it catches up with you just because it's so wide. So what you should do is head east so you've got more distance, and then you can choose to drop and go somewhere else, either north or south, depending on which is the safer option. And you definitely don't want to cross the path to escape it. So a lot of people tried to do, and got them either overrun by the tornado, and I think in some cases killed. Right, this is a violent one. Am I still getting data? See, I'll try and find the video, because it's obviously a very important tornado safety one. Do a quick recall. Right, let's plan for another intercept on this one. Let's look at... Right. I don't want to go north over 3 hills. I think we'll go south, east, and we'll go around this way, okay? I think that'll be the best option, because navigating those those hills is quite tricky. Unintentionally so. You might have a short but windy option, or a longer but straight option, and it's up to you to choose the optimal one. Yeah, so making it dangerous off-road, I did do that in the 2020, I was going to say the 2003 version of the game. I did do that in the 2023 version of the game, but watching streams, people were getting very frustrated because people would almost always go off-road and like crash into a log or a boulder and end up killing themselves. They would get really frustrated. Yeah. Maybe it could do kind of similar to what Storm Chasers does, where you could be like stuck in the mud for like some random period of time, like 10 or 20 seconds. You've just got to wait for the countdown to elapse before you can start driving again. Yeah, I think there needs to be an additional hazard for going off-road. I think you're right there. Okay, take the next right, and then we'll follow the road around, and that should get us. That should get us ahead of it. So we might be able to go slightly above 90. I realise that the speed limiter set and what the truck can actually get to are 2 different things. I'm guessing the truck controller actually like starts to reduce your power to your engine as you get closer to the target speed. So I actually had to add, so if I wanted, for example, to have a 90 mile an hour top speed on paved road, I have to set the limit to something like 130 miles an hour. Just an oddity of the truck controller I'm using for the game. Close over to the edge of the map. I'm wondering. Let's see, where are we? No, I think we'll go for one more intercept on this one, and then we'll go for the other one's very slow moving, so I think we can get a second intercept in. Yeah, I'll just show you. Hit the F1 key, you can toggle the UI on and off. I think we might be able to get ahead of it. Fortunately, we haven't had one with... Oh, this was just about putting down Subvortices, but then it's weakened again. Hopefully we get some nice cycloidal marks on the map, just to show off the improved Subvortices. Towns when? Probably after the... So... I need to implement the object scatterer. And then I need to finish doing upgrades. Like, the upgrade system's kind of half done. It's like the logic's there and the game is just hidden from view right now. I need to finish it. Oh, I think that's going to rope out. That's looking a pretty nice one to intercept. We'll go up to that one instead. So yeah, probably after that, because with the object scatterer I need to add a way for objects to interact with the tornado. And then once that's done, it's just a matter of adding in house models and making them respond to the winds as well. And that logic should already be done as an effect of doing the object scatterer. So I think that's a good stepping stone. So I'll have random objects which can be lifted, and then with houses it's a bit more complicated because you don't just lift an entire roof off, things need to break apart. See where we are? Okay, so if we take this next right, actually it's not even a right road, literally just turns right. We're going to be positioned for another intercept. That one's touching down again, but I think this is our best bet. No subvortices yet, though. Good. Closing in on us. Right. No. Did I overshoot the junction? Yeah, I did. Actually, I think we'll stay here. Let me try and figure this out. It's crawling. Look, that thing is barely moving. Should get a lot of samples, though, as a result of that. So, let's see. Yeah, I think we'd be a little bit further north. Now, let's hop out the truck. I use the crosshair on, like, the left edge of the funnel. We'll see if we maybe need to be a little bit further north. Oh, there's an add-on for Gary's mod called Cheese Storms. Yeah, I remember, and we're going back quite a way now. Maybe somewhere around 2009 to 2011, maybe? Can't remember the exact year. Playing some really early Gary's mods which added tornadoes in. I think we need to head slightly south, actually. There's that other one we were just on. This one's closing in. Should we do this entirely in 90s mode? So that looks good. We can barely see the tornado. Right, let's get the probe. Stick it there. And we need to drive. And once we're safe, we'll take a look at the probe camera, because it's moving so slowly, it'll actually give us some time to look at the probe. Like, look at the intercept from the probe's point of view. Look at that absolute beast of a tornado. Oh, we're getting subvortices again. Let's look at it from the probe camera point of view. Yeah. Fills almost the entire lens. Let's watch it from over here. You get a lot of data with this one. It's very realistic and very popular too. Think I could check it out? Maybe. I was trying to think whether Gary's mod is on this account. I think I ended up with a second Steam account. I created one when I was much younger. I think I lost access to it and all I bought was Gary's mod. But to be fair, Gary's mod's cheap enough I could probably buy it again. But yeah, I'm always looking for inspiration for the game, so yeah, I may try that out. Providing like the setup isn't too... Because I remember when I used to add these different mods, you'd need like a million other things installed as well just for the mod to work. So as long as the setup's fairly straightforward, yeah, I could do a stream and just note down some ideas, things which may help the game. Especially when it comes to things like realism. I feel like we may be a bit too close. Oh, we're getting F5 hitting 300 mile an hour inside there. It's going to max out again, 318. Yeah, we're getting the maximum wind speed. Oh, look at those subvortices. Let's see, we're here, so we're just about safe. Look at them. Made to notch down the radius just a little bit. It's right on the edge there of the radius of max wind. It's moving so slowly. Look, we're still getting F5 samples. Let's have a look. Look at that absolute goldmine of data. Let's sell that. $2,300 and 2 anomalies. Not bad. We've only been chasing 24 minutes. Not even chasing. That's how long the stream's been going. I didn't start probably until about 5 minutes in. Again, still getting F2 strength winds. Does this change direction? You get some weird optical illusions where it looks like it's coming towards you. I think it's an optical illusion. So you still get F2 data, so I don't want to don't want to retrieve the probe just yet. Lens creator is 44. Did you need help with this game? 2. So I'll have to check. Depends on by help, like things like general advice. I think's fine. You can get in when it comes to like specific designs of things. You can get into some murky area with like intellectual property. It's like if he's come up with something like unique to his game and then tells me how to implement it myself, it's like, well, who owns that feature? But if he was happy to, I'm always happy to take advice, and if there's anything I can give pointers to for the mod, I'm happy to as well. Camera. Right, let's think how we're going to do this. It's about to go off the map. If it's about to go off the map, then I think we head back down here and wait for the next one. So I think our best bet is to head down to the bottom left corner of the map and get ready for the next intercept. So I'll toggle this off. Let's just find the quickest route down there. I know I said half an hour for the stream, but I think I'll push it to 45 minutes. I just don't want to be up too late. I've been exhausted today. It's like this cold going round. I know everyone in the office where I work's had it. 2 daughters have had it. Wife's caught it as well, and I think I'm just feeling just generally a bit run down. Yeah, just need a lot more sleep than usual. Like that other tornado's still cranking away over there. Really needs to rope out. I think I need to update the logic so that once it's outside the bounds of the map, it can't strengthen anymore, it can only weaken. We've got some nice cycloidal marks there. It's like somebody gave a squid a paintbrush and it just kind of ran across the map. But right, we'd go right. Maybe heading west. Keep an eye on reflectivity, not utility, or velocity. It's reflectivity because once that cell starts to die, we know another one's going to pop up and we can go for our next intercept. Yeah, let's just go off-road till we get to here. Yeah, I think we're pretty much in the centre of the map. We're in a good place for next intercept. Who are we chasing from? Yeah, I'm not... Maybe like for the stream, I don't think it needs to be an in-game feature. Have like a chase timer, because I don't know how useful that would be to actual players, but maybe I could learn a bit more how Streamlabs works and figure out like an overlay so while I hit start once I start streaming. Maybe even the game can output some stats that automatically go to overlays. That'd be quite a fun thing for the next stream. I just have to go in the world of Streamlabs. All I really do, I've just got a really basic setup where I set my window that I'm going to stream from, my audio input, which is my laptop microphone, which is why it's a bit echoey, but it's a lot better than using my AirPod speakers. I think I may need to get a proper headset if I'm going to be doing streams more often. Yeah, I haven't done any fancy like overlays where you can like display a chat and stuff like that. I just haven't learned to do that. Oh, hello, Rainbow does stuff. I don't know which point you joined. But I've made some small changes based on what you told me, which is First, I just had to narrow the subvortices right down; they were way too wide, and then do my best to keep them within the radius of maximum wind. What I'm going to do is explain how they work in the game. I'll send that over to you so you can see what the difference is between what I'm doing and what you're doing, and see where we can kind of make changes from there. Also, apologies as well. Right before I did this stream, I just saw a much more detailed explanation on how debris clouds work. I remember you'd sent me the DM during the last live stream, and then I'd completely forgotten until I just did this one. I opened up the DMs to adjust these subvortices. So apologies for that. It's some excellent stuff you've sent. I'll have to have a think about how I could implement that in the game. If I try and make it completely physically accurate, the simulation might be too slow. It may lag the game a bit. So, but it is interesting. Essentially, you've got lighter debris which kind of goes vertically up the side of the funnel, as far as I can tell, and then heavier debris which gets centrifuged out near the base of the funnel, near the ground. Oh, and hello, Neon. So what would be cool is once I can get multiplayer, which would likely be a several month at least job, we could have people join in. So as well as being on the chat, on the stream, we could also be in a multiplayer lobby as well, which I think would be really cool. We've got now a next cell going up now. Let's take a look at reflectivity. Yeah. Dedicated servers or self-hosted? I'm thinking that at least initially they're going to have to be self-hosted, just I don't have the funds to pay for a dedicated server. I guess I could shop around and if it's not too expensive, but like if it's going to be something which is going to cost like $100 a month or so, I'm probably not going to have budget for that. If there's something cheaper, maybe we can do dedicated servers. But initially it may have to be like somebody hosts, shares their IP address and other people can join. But yeah, if I could have like sort of like a lobby matchmaking initially, that might be better. I just don't know what the cost is to have like dedicated like matchmaking servers. I think Unity does offer that as a service. I'm just not sure how much it costs. Right, I think now is the time to switch from reflectivity to velocity. I'm wondering if we'll head south as well. Well, actually, I'm thinking the tornado's likely going to be around here. I wonder if I take this south road. I know it's a bit annoying. It's going to put us in a better position. Yeah, I'm thinking for the debris cloud, I'm thinking I may be able to do something simpler. Because essentially what I'd have to do, so I can add like a cylinder and have like upward winds, like push debris upwards. What the problem I'm going to have is that will also affect the tornado funnel. So what I need is, it would kind of need to be like the skin of the cylinder. Just imagine more like a tube, and it would be like, you wouldn't want anything in the center blowing upwards. You just want like the skin on the outside. But then, because tornadoes can be cone-shaped as well, that makes it a bit more difficult. Yeah, I think maybe I could just bump up the friction on the ground layer, because that is simulated right now, just so it's a bit more noticeable, like the debris cloud dragging across the ground and interacting with it a bit more. See, it looks like, oh, we've got a pretty strong, we've got 2 tornadoes on the ground here. Which is the best one to go for? Maybe this one, it's closer. Where's the road? We're coming to a road and then we need to turn right. Maybe I could modify the placement of the debris. So around the funnel, up to a certain height, it also kind of dots just little puffs of debris around, just in a thin layer around the outside of the funnel, with much lower density than like the main debris cloud at the bottom. Like they got the really thick debris cloud at the bottom, maybe make it thin as you go further up. Now where is this tornado? I can't actually see it on the map. Is it pretty much repeating the exact same path as the tornado before? It's like invisible right now. Velocity. It's right there. Right, no. Can't get in front of it here. Look, you can see it, it's there. It's pretty much following the exact same path as the tornado before it. Maybe if we go off-road, get to the cornfield before that gets to the cornfield, get ahead of it. Another tornado over there is looking quite... I like all that dark dust getting thrown around it. I really like the contrast between like the debris, dust, and the main funnel. Right, we need to get onto the road. Where's the road? If we try and beat it to the opposite corner of that cornfield, we might be good. Even though we've got about 12 miles an hour worth of wind before the truck starts getting lifted. Alright. I'm accelerating as hard as I can. Right, when are we in the path? I might have to do a quick deploy. Okay, this is going to be risky. So we're going to go off-road, deploy, get on-road, and then escape. So we're going to deploy right about... here. Alright, and then we just need to get out of the way. So that thing's just enveloped in dust there. Okay, let's go first view. Let's get on the road because this truck is really struggling. Switch to probe camera. Let's see what the probe can see. It's already getting F3. It's not even inside the tornado yet. Got that one over there, just a cylinder of dust. Maybe we'll go after this one next. This one looks visually quite interesting. Yeah, let's try and go after that one next. That's it. So we've got one intercept on this tornado to our right. Okay, let's do a quick recall. Let's analyse the data, see what else we can get. Oh, no F5 samples, just F3. It's a bit lame. Come on, we can do better than that. Where's the road? I've lost the road. Right, I want to get in front of that. Okay, there's a road just to our south. Right. This might just be faking us out. Is it actually moving into a weak environment? No, it's not. So it could... So if we look at the size of it now compared before, it could like double or triple in size at any second, so we need to be ready for that. Let's try and get ahead of it. So there's a right turn coming up. Right, we're cutting this really... This is really dangerous as well because we're within the radius where if it just chooses to expand, because it can expand much faster than it can actually move along the ground. So placing ourselves in a really, really dangerous position here. Right in this intersection. Quick deploy. Barely see it. Barely visible. There's the road. When you stay on the road, it will never escape. I think we'll use VHS mode. It'll give us a little bit more visibility compared to before. We'll exit the vehicle. Hope the probe getting 114. Is he going to get hit? No, I think it changed directions. Oh, that other one's properly wedged out. Look at the width of that. As soon as I decide to change tornadoes, the original one decides to become more interesting, doesn't it? Look at... Is that it now? Look at the width of that tornado. So the map is 10 kilometers. This is what, about a third of that? It's like 3 kilometers. So yeah, that must be close to the max, like 1.5 miles wide. Maybe we'll go for an intercept on that. Right, let's try and intercept that other massive wedge. Quick recall. Right, we need to head south. So that way. Right. Have to be rabbit, so have to be navigating. And have to be Bill Paxton driving as I go. This tornado's kind of in our way. Right. We're going to do another thing. It's going up... Right. Okay, change of plans. We're going to go back this way, up here, and we're going to intercept up there. We need to race it to that intersection up there. So the road should be here any second, and then we need to turn north. There we go. Whoa, that was a close lightning strike. That other tornado is insanely wide. Of course, it's going to weaken right as we get to it. We're going to be able to look. We're 85 miles an hour, 86. Oh, sorry, I can see more things in the chat. I will respond to them. I'm just concentrating right now to get this intercept. The tornado size is capped at 1.5 miles right now. So 2,400 meters or 1.5 miles. Even though it has weakened a bit, that other one. But it's in an insanely strong environment, so I think it's going to intensify again. So if we keep our speed up, we can hopefully bridge that gap and go for an intercept up here, maybe slightly off-road. So let's keep our speed up, keep going dead straight. We'll just keep watching that, because I think it's just going to, like, triple or quadruple in size without any sort of warning. Like, the new speed limit, 40 miles an hour, feels painfully slow now. Oh yeah, it's starting to intensify, so let's just be careful. Look, it's widening. Right, so we'll get on this road. Where's the road? Where's the road? Oh no, I think we're going to get overrun. Right, we're just going to have to race it. We're going to have to race it. Fighting 100-mile-an-hour winds. I think I'm going to end up driving into it. Let's just see, we might get lucky. Let's race it. Yeah. Because I can turn left. No, it's got us. It's got us. Maybe it's going to throw us in a perfect position to intercept the other tornado. Well, no, I think we still intercepted. Right, what we need to do... Right, this is what we need to do. Go east and then north, and then we'll try and intercept up here. So let's open up a bit more of a gap. And I think I'll have to make this the last intercept, and then I'll answer the questions, and I'll have to end the stream, because I was only planning on doing 30 minutes up to 45 now. I need to get some sleep. intensify. Oh, it's weakening again. That's a shame. Look at the width of that when it reaches peak intensity. Right, keep heading north. Keep heading north. We'll be able to intercept. Hopefully it'll strengthen before then. We'll get to see one of the 1.5 mile wide wedges. Oh yeah, look, it's intensifying. Right. I think, yeah. It's turning slightly north. I think it's heading a bit more north. Let's get on the road. Where's this road? We'd be heading a bit more northwest, west, northwest. Where's the road? I can't see the road. There it is. Yeah. And I think we're going to have to do a quick deploy. So we're just going to go quick deploy. There we go. Let's get out of the way. Yeah, let's look at the probe camera point of view. Let's zoom in, F2. Oh, I'll say it's these AirPods are rubbish. Not lasting very long at all now. F3. We've got a road here. One sec, let me reconnect my AirPod. Connect. There we go. Oh, just only getting some F2 samples. But oh well. Just like we placed it almost in the path where it needed to be. Right, so then I will get, once it stops collecting samples, I'll analyse the data, then I'll answer the last few questions, and then, yeah. Yeah, then I'll have to end the stream. Yeah, it's weakening now. I thought we were going to see it, like, quadruple in size. It's hard to predict. They can either go with the environment, so strengthen if in a strong environment, or they can go against the environment, so it could weaken in a strong environment, just means it's more likely to intensify. It seems well unfortunate this time it didn't actually intensify, even though the environment was quite strong. Because if we take a look, Cape, Helicity, yeah, it's heading into a pretty strong area. Okay, we're not getting any data now, so I'll do a quick recall. Let's analyze the data, then sorry, we'll answer the chat. So no anomalies. But for about a 40-minute chase, 2 anomalies, $3,000 cash. Okay. Does seem to be, I think for like an hour chase you're looking at about $5,000 cash and 2 anomalies. So yeah, I think that's a decent benchmark. Then let me get to the questions. The funnel can be the size of the radius of maximum wind, or it could be bigger. Most of the time it's smaller. Sometimes the funnel is just legitimately lurking in the eye. Will the precipitation... That's interesting, yeah. I'll send you over the logic of what the game's currently doing. Maybe you may be able to see where I'm going wrong. I just get all words mumbled up there. Will the precipitation react to wind? I'll have to see if it can. I didn't create these particle emitters, so I'll have to see if it can, or maybe I can modify it so that it can react to the wind, so it's a lot more violent, or maybe even almost horizontal as you get closer to the tornado. Tested the game on some better hardware, 1060 with 3 gig of memory. Performance was relatively good, ran medium settings, 1080p at like 30 to 40. That's decent for 1060, because yeah, it's a few generations old now. Actually, that's why you get cones most of the time. It's because the funnel straighter, wackiness due to dry air consumption. Huh. So is it something to do with interacting with the ground, which makes the base narrower? The funnel is within the radius of max wind, and cones outward to the size of the radius of max wind at the cloud base. Wider. So just you have 2 different Roselle, Kansas is a pretty good example. I'll have to look that up after. Let me just type it up on my phone now. It's in a Forgotten Violent Tornadoes Reddit, so I'll have to have a look at that. What's been going on lately? Lately I've been going between my duties at work, my duties at home as a dad and as a husband, and working on this game. So, yeah, time's been split between those three things every day. But as it should be, you got to work to provide for your family. You got to have time with your family, and then this is the pet project, which I'm trying to make as good as possible. Hello, Gamer Bubs. Or hello. But predictions on tornadoes this year? After Endland last year, you think another AF5 may happen? Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, it's one of those things, it's like, you hope they don't happen. But obviously, me making a prediction doesn't change what actually will happen. Another AF5. Yeah, so you got to think. So it's making me think of it. What is it? Bayesian probabilities. So it's not just what's the probability of an F5 occurring. It's what's the probability of an F5 occurring given we've just had one occur. Does that mean the kind of like the global weather patterns are in a better state now to create these higher end events? Another EF5. I think it's hard for me to say right now. A channel you should definitely check out is Convective Chronicles. It's run by Trey Greenwood. He does at the beginning of each year like a prediction, sort of annual forecast to see how he thinks this season's going to go relative to last season. I think if he predicts this season, I'm making my prediction based on his, so I don't think he's released the video yet. So I think if this season is on par or predicted to be stronger than last season, then I think we'll see an EF5. I think if there's been like a change like El Nino to La Nina, and it's less favourable, then I don't think we will. Base is narrow because it's easier to condense closer to the level of the lifted condensation level. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way. Think in terms of a skew T graph. So yeah, at the surface, air has to be lifted more. So even though there's a pressure dropper from the funnel which causes condensation, you still need less effort to condense the closer you get to the lifted condensation level. That makes sense. Extensions for cars can be added, maybe. Yeah, one thing I'm thinking of adding is just kind of like not a trailer, I don't know what the word for it is. Like, you sometimes see wildland fire trucks when they're transporting people out. Like, instead of the bed of the truck, there'll be like a cab which can seat like 8 people or something in it, or maybe 6 people or something. I'm thinking of having something like that, so you can drive to a house, pick someone up, have multiple people in the back of your truck, and then drop them off at a shelter. So you'll go into rescue mode where you can't deploy your probe, but you can rescue people. Then you can go back in. Once you've dropped everybody off and there's nobody in the trailer, then you can go back into research mode again. Thank you for explaining that. I've never thought of it that way, but that makes complete sense. With the well, the tornadoes tend to be conical. Never thought in terms of like the LCL. Yep, it's easy. So I'll go to Rainbow's comment, and I'll jump back up to yours, Neon. The pressure drop is uniform. When you think about a tornado, it's just a tube, so it condenses like a cone because it's easier to condense higher up than lower down. Yeah, that seems it's one of those things. the best explanations always seem obvious after you've heard them, but I've never put that together. Tornado funnels are hollow, they have eyes. Ah! Do you think I should make that the next feature? Should I make the tornadoes have eyes? When you say hollow, like, what are you talking? Are you talking like... So the width of the condensation funnel, what width is that? Are we talking inches, feet, tens of meters, hundreds of meters? So like, you've got a mile-wide wedge. Is the eye like just a few tens of meters in the middle? Or is it almost the entire inside of it? Yeah, that's a pretty quick thing I could change, actually. And the entire inside of the funnel. So, really? Just looking at funnels, like, they seem pretty full. But I guess... Yeah, I've not been inside one. Like a hurricane in eye. Well, yeah, but with a hurricane, like, the ratio of the eye to the rest of the hurricanes, like, what? 6 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1? And so, I'm just looking at your comment. The way they analyse the data, will this be used on more tornadoes from that? Yeah, because they did do something different. I think there are some flaws in the EF scale. I did want... Sorry, I think my headphone just disconnected. They did do somebody, and I'll have to remember who it was, did an excellent criticism of the enhanced Vegeta scale in some ways it falls short. It's almost directly around the airport while the hurricane's entire field covered in clouds. Ah, so maybe I can do that. I'm half tempted to even try that live. Right, the live stream has gone longer than I planned. But that's such an interesting concept. Let me show some behind the scenes stuff. Right, I'm going to show some behind the scenes stuff. Let me change Streamlabs. So instead of just screen capture, we're going to capture screen 1. Right, so you can see that. Let me fire up Unity so you can see what the project actually looks like. Yeah, I was just answering Neon's comments. So, so there's two. So is the eye the core? I think I can't answer that. Rainbow will have to answer that. And then the one about changing the way they do the enhanced Vegeta scale. Yeah, I'll have to. I don't know a lot about it. I think they'll need to. I'll need to remind myself how they calculate it, but I do know Ethan Moriarty does the June 1st channel. I think a lot of his calculations in some cases, well, I say a lot, I think there's been several cases where his calculations have shown that the wind speed is significantly above what the damage indicators had shown. So yeah, I think there do need to be some updates in the methodology for it. Okay, so here's the scene. So we have a tornado entity spawner, which spawns a tornado entity. A tornado entity has a tornado volume. If we go inside the tornado volume, so you kind of see this is what it looks like. And we just have a funnel, which is just a cube, which I can put density into. We have a vortex, which has strength, speed, scale. We've also got like a swirl vortex, random, which is kind of just kind of like turbulence, and then directional, which is kind of like the upward motion. And we've got a vacuum in the center, which I don't think it changes radius, but it can change strength. And then we've just got this cleanup. So this just enforces kind of cylindrical shapes. You don't get square funnels. But to implement this, so we'll go vortex. And we've got then a render texture. So what it does is it outputs into a 3D render texture. And this uses a compute shader. So let me just open this. So what I have to do as well is do a commit. Let's just check its status. Yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll use codecs for this. So let me just fire up codecs. Alright, so the name of the script, and obviously this AI is really changing the way I approach development now. So it's called Tornado Emitter CS. So, please take a look at the script. And instead of the tornado funnel being one solid mass, I want there to be an eye with a radius. Okay, let me. It's not just a straight up eye, though, is it? I want to hollow it out. So let's call it an eye. I want to be able to hollow out the tornado funnel so that the visible density is more of a layer slash skin of the tornado with a customizable width. Please can you update the compute shader and the tornado RT emitter script if needed. Like, honestly, how AI works is just insane. The fact I can just write that. This wasn't a thing 2 years ago when I was first working on the game. It's just very dark because you're surrounded by the equivalent of a ton of extremely dense fog. It closes for the sake of the game. You could just have the eye stop at the cloud base. What about a game mode where it's inverted? The entire map is a tornado and the square funnel is clear and safe. I don't know if it'd be much of a game because you would, unless you were spawned inside the square, you'd just be getting thrown around constantly for the entire game and have no real control. Yeah, because there's a few things which are called games which aren't actually games. For example, round the clock solitaire. If you've ever played that, where you shuffle the cards, you set them out in like a clock face pattern. As you turn over each card, you place it next to the hour. That's not technically a game because there's no decisions to be made. Okay, added hollow funnel ops by introducing the funnel shell width parameter and using it in the compute shader to emit only a shell, but keeping the old solid behavior when width is 0. This touches the emitter script to pass the new value to the compute shader. Okay, let's test this out then. We'll test in the editor. You have to say the performance in the editor and the visuals in the editor aren't representative of the build. The build's usually, well, the build's always a lot more performant than the editor because you're not having to update a load of stuff in the side here. Right, let's see what it defaults to. No, it's not a chatbot. It is OpenAI's AI coding assistant. It's called Codex. So let's see, where is the what did it say it was called? Tornado skin width or something. Funnel shell width. Funnel shell width, okay. I don't know, what are the units of that? What are the units of funnel shell width? I don't use this for all my coding, and what I tend to do is write a lot of the code myself and then just comment in the sections I want Codex to fill out. But I'm just, because of time constraints and everybody's watching, I'm just going to use this for now. Uses the same units as top radius, bottom radius in the compute. Voxel units. Okay. So let's put it to something like 4 for now. Right, we'll save that, go back. Not sure what changed here. We'll just save it anyway. Right, let's open. So you have the customize your chase scene. So we'll run that. So apologies, it is a bit of a smaller view in the editor. Alright, we don't need a 20-kilometer map. Let's bump this all the way down to 10. I don't do more behind the scenes streams. I would like to. I guess just the thing is when I'm working on the game, I'm really concentrating, so I'd probably keep forgetting to look at the comments. Right, let's just... I don't think the amount of tornadoes really matters. We'll just do one for now. And then we'll have to make sure it's rendering correctly as well, because one thing you can do here is go to the scene view, and I can just kind of move around like this. So I can just go to the tornado volume. We can try some different skin widths or shell widths and check what works. Okay, I don't know if there's a noticeable shell width yet. Not yet, it still looks pretty full. Maybe needs to be a bit bigger. Oh no, it does look like there's some sort of eye forming there. Yeah, look, there is an eye forming. It's just... maybe I've got the shell width too big. Look, if I... let me hide the gizmos. Yeah, look, there's an eye. Should we fly through it? So we kind of look up. Oh, look, you can actually see the game map that is actually physically located somewhere else in the world. It's giving me Twister vibes, so we're trying to get all the way to the bottom and look up. It's kind of tricky because it keeps moving as well. Take man, this is next time. Yeah, if people are interested, I can. That actually looks legit. Thank you, Rainbow. I had no idea that the tornadoes had an eye, but yeah, look, I think that eye is still a bit. I think it's still a bit thick. Do you think? Let's see. What does it look? Does it change what it looks like from a distance? No. So I think what we can do. Let's go to the tornado volume. Then we need to go to the funnel. So if we set the shell width to 1, so what I don't want to do is to look too wispy. Like, you don't want to be able to start seeing through them, because then they won't have that menacing look of this solid mass coming towards you. But let's set it to 1, and let's take a look now. May take a bit for it to update. I can remove the RT emitter and enable it again. Look at that. Makes the uncondensed toes look kind of crazy. Like, is it? So we're starting to see light through it now. Let's try and drive. Oops, it's only exited. Let's try and drive and capture. Storm clouds. So the storm clouds are potato, piles of mashed potato shape. Let me zoom out. Yeah, like, I don't quite like how the lights cutting through like that. It makes me think I need to think. So yeah, it kind of just looks like that. It doesn't really matter from ground level. From ground level, all you see is the base. But yeah, behind the scenes, that's yeah, it does kind of look like an upside down cone in this case. I do need to work on the cell modeling a bit more. Yeah, I think maybe we'll set the shell width to 2. But yeah, that means when you're in the middle of it, it's gonna look really cool. Because if you just look straight up, let me full screen that. I think it needs to be a bit thicker than 1. Let's set it to 2 voxels. I still want there to be an eye. It's a balance between having an eye and not having the light penetrate all the way through. So that doesn't look quite right. Into the Stalk. Is that like the low budget remake of Into the Storm? Yeah, or maybe what I could do is, just as a shout out to Twister, is have a secondary vortex right in the center. See, is the sunlight still penetrating through? A bit. Let's go to 4 then. Had anvil clouds. Yeah, eventually, yeah, like I said, this isn't super realistic. It's just kind of the hidden logic behind the scenes, just so that you got a lot of shadow underneath the stones. Yeah, we're still... I wonder if I can maybe change the material properties instead. So what we'll do is we'll go to this. We've got density. Maybe I just need to put the density here. I don't like that. Too dark now. Maybe it's the scattering attenuation. No, not that one. Scattering contribution? Maybe we need to turn the scattering contribution down. No. I want to get best of both here. We need an eye, but I don't want the sunlight passing through the middle. So I could maybe bump that up, but I can still see the sunlight coming through. So back to 150. There's got to be something in here I can use. Illumination brightness. Illumination softness. Not sure. That's a... So I guess light's coming down here. Maybe when... but if we have a cap on the top, you won't actually be able to see inside very well. Let's think. Can we make it a little... What if we set it to 8? Make a cap on top. Okay, let's one thing about compute shaders, right, is you don't have to restart Unity for them. Please update only the compute shader. Can you add a lid on the top of the funnel so that light doesn't penetrate through the funnel completely? It can be the same number of voxels high as funnel shell width. So if we set this back, so if I set it to 0, yeah. Can I set it to a fraction? What if I set like 0.1? Oh wow. Got like a ghost tornado there. So we can actually use fractions as well. 0.5. So 0.5 isn't too bad. It gives a pretty decent eye. But it is still quite thin, isn't it? Set it to 1. So also want to make sure if you're in the middle of the funnel that you can't see out too easily. 2. Three. Yeah, I think 3 is a good value. Then we just need to have that lid on top. Add a top lid in the compute shader by filling the inner hole for the top funnel shell with voxels, so it won't pass through. Okay, is it going to update? I sometimes need to open Visual Studio before VS Code will notice the change, before Unity notices the change. That looks really cool. Yeah, we just need that lid. Wonder if I do this, if that'll kick it into working. Here's the emitter code. Why is it adding the lid? Or is it? Yeah, we may need to stop and see. Can I trigger? Can I trigger a rebuild? Let's just say 0.1, just so it detects a change, and I'll set it back to 0.0. Then we'll start again. Okay, all the time I just do windshield. I'd have to get a windshield sort of damage model. It's not planned. It's one of those things where the effort to add it seems a lot more than the value it would bring to the game. So not ruling it out completely, but yeah, it's not on the roadmap just yet. That's kind of like one of those icing on the cake kind of nice features just to finish the overall experience off. Let me do this cell volume, not tornado volume, funnel. So I think we'll set the shell width to 3. Should look interesting as it starts to form. Oh, there, here it comes. So let's get ourselves into the clouds. Did it actually update the compute shader? Because I don't... I still see the line, I don't see the lid. If shell width is greater than 0 and height norm is greater than or equal to 1 minus cap height norm. What's cap height norm? Shell width divided by mark. Yeah, so volume size minus 1. Maybe make the lid 2 times the shell width. I'm not seeing it in the game. Doesn't appear to be a lid there. See all the way down. Okay, so that's saved. So, oh yeah, we see it's slightly darkened there. You can still see all the way down. Is the lid definitely writing density over where the eye of the tornado is. Okay, maybe let's just set to an extreme value just to make sure we're changing the right thing. Shell width times 20. Because then it may just be a matter that the ratio... Oh, yeah. Okay, so we don't want 20 because that's way too strong. Times 10. It's still there. Times 5. We still want... Let's see. So I think that's enough to... Yeah, the light's not leaking through anymore. Just want to make sure we've still got an eye if we go inside. Does it? Oh yeah, it does. Nice. So we want the funnel shell width to be 3. Let's just check all around. Yeah, we don't it's very slight bleed through there. Maybe we can set the shell width to something like 7.5. There we go. It's blocking out the light. Still got the lid, and if we go inside, that also means when you get the probe, you can actually see inside if you actually manage to place it directly in the center. So this is what would be like a ground level. So it gives you at least something to see. So it looks like from underneath. So yeah, thank you for that suggestion. So we've got funnel shell width set to 3. Make the cap height 7.5 times the shell width, just so that we don't have light bleeding through from the other side. And yeah, I think I can publish an update now. So excellent suggestion, thanks so much for that. I know it's not as thin as maybe real life, but we just don't want to have it be... you don't want to be able to see out when you're in the middle of the tornado. To kind of kill the realism a bit, or the experience of it. So thank you, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you everybody for joining in and for your suggestions. I'll publish this update in the next few minutes, hopefully. Sign off now. Bye.